Happy Friday, Orlando.
Happy Friday, Orlando. Good morning.
Welcome to We Know Orlando, Ask a Pro with our pro, Alan Maycomber. Say
Good
hi.
morning.
Good morning, everybody. And thank you for joining us for another episode of We Know Orlando's Ask a Pro. Today, we are touching base with all the questions and things that have been sent to me. We're going to focus on one area, fears and questions that are accountable to their fears. So today we have 7 paralyzing fears that prevent people from becoming or their dream of becoming a homeowner, and 5 major fears of sellers or questions of sellers. So let's start off with 7 paralyzing fears that prevent people from buying a dream home. And number 1, the first fear is loss of property value. Why would someone fear loss of property value, Alan?
I don't think that should be a fear at all, because in general, the only time you're going to lose true property value is if we have a major recession like we did before. And the only reason we had that recession was because the banks were giving loans that they should have never given to people that could not afford those homes. So in terms of that, that was a major recession, and that did put a downturn on the value of homes. But in general, homes always go up in value. Like, for instance, right now, we're seeing 4 to 5% returns annually on homes. So even if we had a slight downturn in the market, means that you're still going to make more value on the uptick than you would on the downturn. So I don't think that should be a fear at all.
And I think they've done a lot of fixing the issues that created the housing bubble in 2008 to prevent that from ever happening again. So you have a lot of remedies. Fear number 2, overwhelming maintenance costs. Fear of the overwhelming maintenance costs. How am I going to keep my house up?
Well, that should not be a fear either, because again, with nowadays you have what they call home warranties on homes. Whether it's a new home or whether it's an older home, you can buy home warranties, which, like American Home Shield. American Home Shield covers everything from pools to spas to appliances to heating and air conditioning to electrical. And so you should not have that fear, because a home warranty is like $68 a month, and that covers all those appliances. So that should not be a fear at all.
Good. And I always tell people, make sure you note when your appliances were bought. Make sure that they're bought years, like a couple of years apart or something, just so that you can focus on one at a time, and nothing like buying all your appliances all at once and then having them all go all at once. So.
Yeah, that'd be a scary situation.
Fear number 3, I think the number 1 fear I hear all the time is buyer's remorse.
Buyer's remorse. Every buyer is going to have some type of remorse, and the only reason they have remorse is because of one of the fears that we're talking about today. So if you take into account this segment and really research and know what you're doing when you get into either purchasing or selling a home, then you should never have a buyer's remorse at all when buying a new home.
And a lot of times it's just the fear is creeping up on you. I mean, fear is just the unknown. So buyer's remorse, if you're buying intelligently in the beginning and not buying on emotion, buyer's remorse is highly reduced.
Absolutely.
Number 4, being unable to afford your mortgage payments in the future.
That's one big item that I love to touch on, because if you are financially aware of what's going on around you and you know where you are with your finances, then that should not be a fear at all, because the biggest thing I see is people are getting into situations of not knowing what their set payments are going to be. Well, you can do that by just speaking with a loan officer, making sure you do a fixed rate loan so you know your payments are going to be the same every month. Don't get into any of these wacky loans where you're talking interest only, or you're doing no doc loans, which are dangerous. Just stay with the normal and you'll be fine.
Yeah. I mean, just like you plan for your retirement, you plan for the future. A little bit of money needs to be set aside for future repairs and stuff. So don't
Absolutely.
forget to plan.
Absolutely.
And fear number 5, tricky mortgages or complex loans.
Like I said before, those are very dangerous. Do not do them. Do not, if you think that it's a unique loan, do not get involved. Make sure that you speak with a legitimate loan officer that's going to get you a good loan, not a no-doc loan, not an interest-only loan. Make sure that it is fixed rate and either a 15 or 30-year fixed rate. If you can afford it, you do a 15-year because that way you're paying your mortgage down a lot quicker.
Yeah. So I think just if you're scared of mortgages or loans, go learn something about them so that you don't go in defenseless.
Absolutely.
Defenselessly. So yeah. So number 6, will I even qualify for home loan? And I'm terrified to even try because it'll mark points on my credit, or I don't understand debt to income ratio.
Well, and that's kind of a situation where that is a fear that you fear the unknown, but you don't know where you want to be or where you want to go. I think truly all you got to do is call up a loan officer, and if you have any questions, you can call us as well. But we can give you recommendations of somebody that can do what they call a soft credit pull. And a soft credit pull is where it doesn't affect your credit at all. So now all they have to do is go in and pre-qualify you, and that way you'll know what you can afford in the future and what your chances are of buying a house.
At least if you do go talk to a mortgage lender and see if you pre-qualify, at least you'll know. I mean, I think the thing about fear is just not so much you need to conquer it, but to educate yourself and look at it. And if you can look at it, the fear kind of reduces. So.
See, the old saying is, I like the only thing you fear is fear itself.
Exactly. And
so you need to do your research and study and get over that fear.
Right. And number 7, will my house depreciate in value in the future?
Your house generally might have some ups and downs, but in general, no, it's not going to depreciate. It's always going to appreciate as long as you maintain it and you keep it up and you do a little bit of upgrading here and there. You're always going to see more of an upturn in appreciation than you are depreciation.
All right. So those are fears for the buyers. 7 paralyzing fears that prevent people from their dream of becoming a homeowner. We're going to focus now on the seller side, because there are some major fears there too. You think that, you have the house you're putting on the market, there shouldn't be any problems. But you know what? There are some issues that keep coming back up. The first one is, how do I know how to price my house? I don't really know what to do.
Well, pricing your home is a delicate situation, and it really depends on where you're going. What is your objectives? Do you need to sell quick? Or do you have a little bit of time on your hands? But the biggest issue that we have is people coming in and overpricing their homes thinking, oh, well, I want room to negotiate on the price. That is really not a technique I recommend. And the reason why is, one, if you overprice your home, you're going to have to constantly reduce that price in order for a buyer to make a contract. If you price the home right, you're typically going to get multiple contracts, and it's going to become a competing situation rather than overpricing.
Well, that goes to the next question then, is what are the disadvantages of pricing my home on the high end? I always tell my clients that, the higher you go over, the more disadvantage the buyer has with appraisals coming in a lot lower, or not being able to meet certain standards for their loan. What do you think? Maybe some.
Well, absolutely. What happens is, yes, so you come in and you say, well, I want to price my home that's overpriced. And say you have a buyer that comes in and says, oh, I love the home so much, I'll pay you your price. Well, then you get into situations of it not appraising. And if it doesn't appraise, they cannot get a loan to purchase your home. So you're back to square one. You've wasted 30 to 45 days for them to qualify for a loan, and then the appraisal comes in and the appraisal's no good. and so the buyer walks. So now you've actually taken your home off the market in the best time of the year, and you have to start all over again. It's better to price it right to begin with and look for competing offers.
And I think also if you come in on the high end and there are houses out there on the market that are equal or nicer than yours, you're setting yourself up to give benefits to your competition, that you're not at a competitive price.
Absolutely, and you're giving them competing edge over your home, and that's not what you want to do. What you want to do is be the top of the game. Let somebody come in and pay you more for your house than it's listed for by pricing it right to begin with.
And if you do price it too high, you may be on the market longer, because every time you take that price down, what does it do to your home?
Yeah, well, it makes people think that there's something wrong with that home every time you reduce the price. And then once you get to a point of reduce, and all the agents have already seen your home out there, they don't bother showing it anymore because they say, oh, I've already seen that one. That one is in this situation, or it's in this condition. And they put in their own minds and their buyers' minds that it's not a home they want to show anymore, which I think is a major mistake.
Yeah, so don't give the advantage to your competitors if you're going to sell. Number 3, can I back out of one contract from one buyer and accept a new higher one if a second buyer comes in and offers me more?
Absolutely not. Unfortunately, once you execute a contract between the seller and buyer, there is no way for you to back out of that contract to go with a higher one. The only way that can happen is if the buyer defaults first. So if the buyer says, I don't want the home, and cancels the contract, or the appraisal doesn't come in, or something like that, now you have the right to cancel that contract and go with a higher contract. But in general, what's going to happen most of the time is yours is going to be off the market for an extended period of time, and therefore that buyer has already found another home. So again, it all goes back to using a good agent that's going to explain these situations to you before you get into a situation that's going to hurt you.
Absolutely. And number 4, who is responsible for making repairs, if any, as a result of the home inspection reports conducted for the buyer?
There's actually 2 types of contracts. There's the FAR as-is contract, which is a contract that puts the majority of the problems onto the buyer. For instance, they come in and buy your home and it's an as-is contract. What's going to happen is the buyer is going to be responsible for most of the repairs unless it's a major issue, such as a roof issue or AC issue or something like that. There is also the standard FAR contract that sellers can use, and that actually puts the burden on the seller up to 4.5% of the purchase price to make certain repairs. Now, if you have a good agent, that agent's going to limit those clauses in that contract to protect you. So be careful that you just don't leave those areas in that contract blank, because now you'll be obligated up to 4.5%. That's a lot of money on your home.
So give yourself the advantage and really speak to a real estate agent, or contact us if you have any questions. Even if we don't become your agents, we can at least advise you. The last fear, I think, is one of my most commonly asked ones. There's never a great time to sell your home or put your home on the market because there's a lot of work in it, or your kids are in school, or maybe one season gets you more money than another. But according to you, Alan, which one is the best time to put your house on the market to not fear so much loss?
Well, I think that you can put your home on the market any time of the year if you price it right. But the best time ultimately is to put it on at the beginning of the year. The spring season generally starts at the middle of February and moves forward from there. But if you get it on prior to your competition putting theirs on, you have a much higher chance of selling not only at a higher price, but a much quicker time. So, for instance, if you put your home on March 1st and there's 3 other listings that just came on the market, that actually devaluates your home a little bit rather than being ahead of the curve and putting your home on the market earlier. So I recommend, depending on your situation, You can either wait for the seasonal period, or you go ahead and put your home on the market, get ahead of that curve, and you'll be better off.
I say just contact a really good real estate agent, one
Absolutely.
that's there for you, one that is there regardless whether you are their client or not, to just answer your questions and be there as an advocate for you. And like always, like, share, and comment below, because we want to be a part of your community. We want to help you in any way, shape, or form. Yeah, email me at tia@weknoworlando.com. Go to our website, weknoworlando.com, or just put a comment below. I'll answer them for you.
Put a comment below or give us a call, 407-251-1314. We're always here to answer your call to help you out. Whether you use us or not, that's not the issue. We want to make sure you're taken care of as a customer. So we would love to work with you and work for you, but that is not what we're here for. We just want to make sure you're protected. So again, as we know Orlando, and I want everybody to have a great weekend, and thank you, Tia.
And I just want everyone to know, fear is nothing to hold you back. Fear is the dragon standing between you and the treasure. So conquer those fears. Come and talk to us. We're going to help you get over those fears. All right, well, have a good weekend. We'll see you next week, Tuesday and Friday. As always, we'll be doing our Facebook Live, and we will see you then.
Enjoy your weekend. Bye-bye.
Got in there, didn't I?
Oh.